Last spring, in Charleston, South Carolina, Eleanor, the family practice doctor with $4.1 million you met earlier in this series, invited her old college roommate over for dinner. Her roommate's name is Whitney, 51. Lives in Atlanta. She and her husband Brad are both attorneys at a mid-sized law firm. Their combined household income is $480,000 a year. Eleanor and Whitney have been friends for 32 years. They graduated college the same year. They started their careers within months of each other. Whitney walked through Eleanor's front door that evening, looked around the house for a long moment, and said one sentence Eleanor will never forget. She said, "How do you afford this life? Brad and I make almost twice what you and Patrick do, and we are absolutely drowning." Eleanor laughed. She said, "Whit, we don't make almost twice what you do. We make almost half. You and Brad make $480,000. Patrick and I together make $340,000. That dinner conversation lasted 4 hours. By the end of it, Whitney had written down 7 specific things, all of them small, all of them invisible from the outside, that Eleanor and Patrick did differently. Within 90 days, Whitney and Brad had cut $48,000 a year out of their fixed costs, with no income change, no sacrifice they could feel. I'm Trish, and I sit across from the people who actually built it. So the 7 things Eleanor told Whitney that night, you can start doing this week, whether you make $80,000 or $800,000. Here's why this video matters more than the surface might suggest. Most people think the difference between Eleanor and Whitney is willpower. It isn't. They went to the same college. They both work hard. They both went home that weekend exhausted from full work weeks. Neither one of them is more disciplined than the other. The difference is a complete life code that one of them has been quietly running for 25 years and the other has never been exposed to. Yesterday's video covered the high-income trap, why $200,000 a year now feels like the new $80,000, the structural reasons, the inflation, the lifestyle tax, the tax bracket punch, all real. Today's video is the fix, the actual decisions the quietly wealthy make, not just about what they wear, we covered that 2 videos ago, but about where they live, what they drive, how they vacation, who they entertain, what they give, and what they say no to. 7 categories, 7 specific rules, each one of them small, each one of them invisible to neighbors, each one of them, combined with the others, is the difference between Eleanor's $4.1 million and Whitney's net worth, which I will tell you in the next paragraph. Whitney and Brad have a negative net worth of about $80,000 on $480,000 a year of combined income after 25 years of working. That's not a willpower problem. That's a code problem. They never had the code. Tonight you do. I'm walking you through Eleanor's exact 7 in 3 groups: the big dollar decisions, the weekly life decisions, and the invisible decisions, the ones that almost nobody talks about, but that quietly do the heaviest lifting of all. Stay with me. This is the most important video in this series. One thing before we get into the 7, there's a phrase that comes up over and over in stealth wealth circles. The phrase is, live like you're poorer than you are. That sounds like deprivation. It is the opposite of deprivation. Living a step or 2 below your income level for your entire life does 3 things at once. 1. It preserves an enormous gap between what you earn and what you spend, which becomes wealth. 2. It eliminates the lifestyle inflation that traps every successful professional you know. 3. It gives you what almost nobody at the income level above you actually has: peace. Calm. The freedom to make a career change at 52 without panicking. The freedom to take 6 months off when your mother gets sick. The freedom to say no to a high-stress promotion that would have eaten your weekends. Eleanor and Patrick make $340,000. They live like they make $190,000. The $150,000 a year gap for 25 years, invested, compounded, is most of their $4.1 million. Whitney and Brad make $480,000. They live like they make $510,000. The negative gap, year after year, is why they're upside down on net worth despite a higher income than the actually wealthy couple they're friends with. The code is not about earning less. It's about living below your earnings, permanently, by design, without effort once it's built. 3 groups, 7 rules. Group 1, the big dollar decisions. Rules 1, 2, 3. These are the 3 decisions that determine 65% of a high-income family's spending: house, cars, education. Get these 3 right, and almost everything else takes care of itself. Get them wrong, and no amount of latte skipping will save you. Rule 1. Buy 30% less house than the bank approves. The bank had pre-approved them for $640,000. They bought a house for $385,000, 3 bedrooms, a small office, a garden. Eleanor still tends every Saturday morning. They paid it off in 2021. Whitney and Brad bought their Atlanta house in 2008. The bank pre-approved them for $710,000. They bought a house for $695,000, 5 bedrooms, a pool, a separate guest suite. Their mortgage payment is currently $4,200 a month. Their property tax is $9,800 a year. Their home insurance after the recent claims environment is $4,400 a year. Eleanor and Patrick's annual housing, under $7,000, just property tax, insurance, and basic upkeep on a paid-off house. Difference, $59,000 a year. Every year, for the last 18 years. If Eleanor had taken that $59,000 a year and put it into an index fund averaging 8% a year, that single decision is worth approximately $2.2 million over 18 years. It's not a coincidence that her net worth is $4.1 million. The house decision alone is more than half of it. This is the single biggest lever in the entire personal finance equation. People want to talk about index funds and Roth IRAs and HSA strategies, all useful, none of them anywhere near as powerful as the decision about how much house you buy. The bank's pre-approval is not a recommendation. It is the maximum amount they think they can extract from your future paycheck without you defaulting. That's their math. That should not be your math. Eleanor's rule: we bought 60% of what the bank said we could afford. We have lived in it happily for 18 years. The other 40% of that approved amount is our retirement. If you're house shopping right now, pretend the bank approved you for 70% of what they actually approved you for. Buy in that range. The difference compounds for the rest of your life. Rule 2. Drive used cars. Keep them forever. This is the rule we've talked about in 3 previous videos. Eleanor and Patrick own 2 cars. Eleanor drives a 2016 Honda Pilot she bought, used in 2019 for $19,400 cash. Patrick drives a 2014 Toyota Camry. He bought new in 2014, the only new car they have ever owned. They paid it off in 4 years. He still drives it. It has 198,000 miles. Total annual cost of 2 cars for Eleanor and Patrick, about $4,200. Whitney drives a leased Tesla Model X, $1,290 a month. Brad drives a leased BMW 7 Series, $1,440 a month. Combined monthly cost of cars before insurance and gas, $2,730. Annual cost of car payments alone, $32,760. Add insurance, gas, and parking. Over $46,000 a year on transportation. Roughly $42,000 a year. Compounded for 18 years at 8%. That's another $1.6 million. Add the house difference and the car difference together. House plus cars alone. $3.8 million of the $4.1 million Eleanor has built from 2 structural decisions made in her 30s. This is what the data actually shows when you study the quietly wealthy. It's never the latte, it's never the small subscription, it's almost always 2 or 3 structural decisions made early, house, car, college, that compound for decades into the difference. Rule 3. Public schools, plus tutoring if needed. Eleanor and Patrick have 2 kids. Both went to the local public schools in Charleston. Both got into excellent colleges. Both are now adults with good careers. Total annual K-12 education spending for both kids combined, across 13 years each, about $2,000 a year for after-school activities, summer camps, books, supplies. Whitney and Brad have 2 kids in private school in Atlanta. Tuition for one is $34,000 a year. Tuition for the other is $38,000, plus uniforms, plus mandatory donations, plus the school trips, plus the parents' annual gala, plus the tutors that are still required despite the tuition. Total annual K-12 spending for both kids, closer to $86,000 a year. Difference, $84,000 a year. For the 12 years both kids have been in school, over $1 million in differential spending. Now, fair point. There are real reasons people choose private school. Some public school districts are genuinely terrible. Some kids have specific learning needs. Some families value specific religious or pedagogical environments, not because the public school is terrible, but because their peers are doing it, because it's what families like ours do, because the optics of "we send the kids to country day" are part of how they signal their place in the social hierarchy. If public school is genuinely awful in your district, fine. Move to a district where it isn't. The cost of moving is dramatically less than the cumulative cost of 12 years of private school. We bought a smaller house in a great school district instead of a big house in a private school neighborhood. The difference paid for both college tuitions, with money left over for grad school. Smart housing decisions and smart schooling decisions are tied together. Group 2. The weekly life decisions. Rules 4 and 5, specifically vacations and entertaining. Rule 4. Eleanor and Patrick take one big vacation per year. They have taken it to the same beach town in North Carolina for 22 years. Same week each summer, same rented cottage, same restaurants, same morning walks on the beach, same friends they have run into there since 2004. Total cost of their annual vacation, about $4,200. They drive. They cook most of their own meals. They spend their days reading, walking, and seeing the same handful of people they've known for 2 decades. Eleanor and Patrick are happier on their vacations than Whitney and Brad are on theirs. The Aspen trip is exhausting. The European trip required 2 days of jet lag recovery on each end. The Caribbean Christmas had a weather problem that ruined 2 days. The vacation became another logistic to manage. Eleanor's rule: we found one place we love. We go to that place every year. We don't optimize for variety. We optimize for depth. The wealthy don't have more travel experiences than you do. They have fewer and deeper ones. That choice quietly saves them tens of thousands a year. Rule 5. Entertain at home. Sunday dinners. Every Sunday at 5:30 p.m., Eleanor and Patrick have between 6 and 12 people at their house for dinner. Family, close friends, Patrick's brother and sister-in-law, Eleanor's medical school friend who lives nearby, their grown kids when they're in town, sometimes a neighbor. Eleanor cooks, usually one large dish she rotates through her favorite 5, a roasted chicken, a pasta, a soup with bread, a steak with vegetables, a casserole, the same 5, for 22 years. Total cost of a Sunday dinner for 8 people at their house, about $45 in groceries. Whitney and Brad entertain too. They go to restaurants 2 to 3 nights a week. Average dinner check for the 2 of them with cocktails, $180, plus the night they go out with another couple, $400, plus the night they have clients out for dinner, $600. Total monthly restaurant spending for Whitney and Brad, somewhere around $4,200. Eleanor and Patrick's annual restaurant spending, about $1,800. They go out for special occasions and travel. The other 50 nights of entertaining happen at their house, with the same 5 recipes, with people they actually want to see. Difference, $48,000 a year. Just on the difference between eating in versus eating out. But here's the part that matters more than the money. Eleanor and Patrick have a tighter, deeper, more loyal social circle than anyone Whitney and Brad know, because they built it. With 22 years of Sunday dinners, with showing up for the same people, in the same way, every week, for 2 decades. The restaurants that Whitney and Brad spend $50,000 a year at, they will not remember them in 5 years. The Sunday dinners at Eleanor's house, those people will be at her funeral. Both expensive. Only one of them is wealth. Group 3. The invisible decisions, rules 6 and 7. The last 2 rules on Whitney's napkin were the ones she said she'd never thought about before. They are the rules nobody talks about. The invisible architecture of a wealthy life. Rule 6. Eleanor and Patrick give about 8% of their gross income to charity every year. That's roughly $27,000 to 3 specific organizations. The local hospital where Eleanor trained, the food bank in Charleston, a scholarship fund at the public high school both their kids attended. They give the same amount to the same organizations every year. They have given to those 3 for over 20 years. Nobody knows? They don't post it. They don't mention it at parties. They don't take the gala invitations. They don't put their name on the building. The donations are anonymous wherever they're allowed to be anonymous. Why does this matter financially? Because it removes them from the entire donation social economy. The galas, the auctions, the benefit dinners, the matching donations pressure from peers, the performative giving that has become a category of upper middle class spending all its own. Whitney and Brad give about $14,000 a year to charity. Most of it is event-based. They go to 2 or 3 galas a year. Tickets are $1,200 a couple. They bid on auction items they don't really want to look generous. They feel pressured to give to whatever cause their lawyer friends are championing this season. They get on email lists that ask for more. Their total outlay, including ticket costs, transportation, formal wear they bought for the event, is closer to $30,000 a year. Eleanor and Patrick give nearly double what Whitney and Brad give. They spend about $27,000 to give $27,000, zero performance cost. The wealthy are remarkably generous. They are also remarkably quiet about it, because the generosity isn't for an audience. It's just the thing they do. If you want to give, and you should, for many reasons, give to the things you actually care about, anonymously. Skip the events. The events are the cost. The generosity itself is virtually free. Rule 7. The no muscle. Trained. Used. Daily. This is the last rule. The one Whitney said changed her life the most. Eleanor says no to things constantly, without explanation, without guilt, without the long apologetic email. The wedding she was invited to in Hawaii, we won't be able to make it. Sending love and a card. The 5-night bachelorette trip to Nashville, can't this time, but I want to take you to lunch when you're back. The neighbor's side hustle pitch about essential oils, not for me, but thanks for thinking of me. The work conference in Vegas that requires 3 nights at $500 a night hotels, I'm going to skip this year, but you'll do great. Eleanor estimates she says no, on average 3 to 4 times a week, to invitations, to opportunities, to favors, to purchases, to upgrades. Whitney, by contrast, says yes to almost everything. She doesn't want to disappoint. She doesn't want to be left out. She doesn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. She doesn't want to miss the moment. The cost, financial, time, energy, of saying yes to everything is staggering. It's the wedding flights, the bachelorette weekends, the conference travel, the book club where the suggested wine is $40 a bottle, the annual neighborhood staycation pool party that costs the host $1,800 to host, the bridal showers, the baby showers, the housewarming gifts, the engagement parties, the going-away parties. In an average year, Whitney estimates she spends $11,000 on events I felt I had to attend. She enjoys maybe 30% of them. Eleanor's no muscle isn't selfish. It's protective. It protects her time, her money, her emotional energy, and her ability to show up fully for the things she actually wants to be at. The Sunday dinners, the annual beach week, the kids' graduations, the close friend's surgery recovery. The wealthy are not unkind people. They are just clear about what is theirs to give and what is not. And the clarity becomes a financial moat over time. If you cannot say no without guilt, without explanation, without apologizing, you will spend the rest of your life paying for other people's plans for you. Train the no muscle. Use it daily. That's the 7. The big dollar decisions, house, cars, schools, the weekly life, vacations, and entertaining. The invisible decisions, giving and saying no. 3 objections come up here. Let me handle them. Objection 1. Eleanor sounds boring. I want to enjoy my life. Eleanor enjoys her life, genuinely, profoundly. She has 22 years of beach weeks at the same cottage with the same friends. Friends she has watched grow old, get married, lose parents, raise kids, retire. Those are deep, meaningful relationships built on presence. She has Sunday dinners with people who genuinely love her. She has a marriage of 28 years that hasn't been crushed by financial stress. She has the freedom to take a sabbatical year at 60 if she wants to. She has the security of a paid-off house, 2 paid-off cars, and a $4.1 million account that gives her options no amount of experiences can buy. What she does not have: bottomless restaurant Instagram posts, 4 exotic vacations a year, designer handbag closet, private school galas, leased luxury cars, or any of the other markers of enjoying life that social media trains people to want. Pick which is enjoyment, honestly. Objection 2. I can't change all 7 of these. They're too tied into my current life. You don't have to change all 7. Whitney didn't either. After that dinner, she and Brad picked 2 to start. They picked Rule 2, cars, and Rule 5, entertaining. They didn't move houses. They didn't pull the kids out of private school mid-year. They didn't cancel the Aspen trip the family had already booked. They returned the Tesla and the BMW at the next lease end and bought 2 used Hondas with cash. They cut their car cost from $46,000 a year to about $4,000 a year. Net savings, $42,000 in year 1. They started doing Sunday dinner at home for friends instead of restaurant nights. They cut their restaurant spending by $36,000 a year. 2 changes, $48,000 a year of savings within 12 months without changing the house, the schools, the vacations, or anything else. That's all they needed for now. The other rules will come later, when there's a natural inflection point, a house renovation conversation, a kid going to college, a job change. The moves don't all have to happen at once. They just need to start. Objection 3. But people will judge us if we drive used cars or send kids to public school. Some will, mostly the people who cannot afford their own current lifestyle and are pretending otherwise. That's not the audience whose opinion should drive your financial life. The people who genuinely matter, the ones who will be at your funeral, the ones who will visit you in the hospital, the ones who will help you move your kid to college. Those people do not judge you for driving a Honda or sending your kids to public school. They judge you for being a good friend, a good parent, a good neighbor, a good colleague. The people who will judge are usually people you don't actually know well, acquaintances, co-workers, social media followers. The opinion of strangers and acquaintances is the most expensive thing in modern life. It is what funds the entire fake rich economy. You do not owe strangers a performance. You owe yourself, your family, and your future a wealthy life. The two are mutually exclusive at the income levels we're talking about. Pick the right one. Action step 3 steps. This week. Each one is small enough to actually do, big enough to start the cascade. Step 1. Walk yourself through Eleanor's 7 rules: house size, cars, schools, vacations, entertaining, generosity, the no muscle. For each of the 7, ask one question. Am I closer to Eleanor or closer to Whitney? Be honest, don't justify, just look. You'll find you're probably Eleanor on 2 or 3, Whitney on 2 or 3, and somewhere in the middle on the rest. That's totally normal. Almost nobody starts at all Eleanor. The audit isn't to feel bad. The audit is to see, clearly in writing, on paper, where the leaks actually are in your specific life. You can't fix what you haven't seen. Step 2. This weekend, pick 2 rules to start, not all 7. 2. Pick the 2 rules where you are most Whitney and where the change feels least scary. For most people, these are Rule 2, cars, and Rule 5, entertaining. Those 2 together usually free up $20,000 to $50,000 a year of cash flow without changing your house, your schools, or anything else big. Make one specific move on each rule this weekend. For cars, if you have a luxury lease, get a quote on what it costs to end early versus run it out. If you own a car you can't afford, list it on Carvana for a quote. Saturday morning, 30 minutes. For entertaining. Invite 3 people over for Sunday dinner this Sunday. Cook 1 dish, buy 1 bottle of wine. That's it. Skip your 2 next planned restaurant nights. Banked savings. About $400 in a single weekend. 2 moves. 1 weekend. The cascade starts. Step 3. This month, train the no muscle. Pick 3 things on your calendar in the next 30 days. Events, invitations, favors that you said yes to without thinking, that you don't actually want to do, that are going to cost you money, time, or emotional energy. Cancel one of them, with kindness, without explanation, without apology. I won't be able to make it. Sending love. That's the entire script. You will feel uncomfortable for about 90 seconds. Then you will feel something almost no upper middle class American ever feels. The tiny but undeniable freedom of having said no. Do it once, then do it again. By the end of the month, you'll have said no 3 times. You'll have saved a few $100s or a few thousand. More importantly, you'll have started building the muscle that protects every dollar and every hour you have for the next 40 years. 3 steps. Audit. 2 rules. 1. No. That's the entire entry into the Wealthy Life Code. If this video helped you, or if you've been the Whitney sitting at someone else's dinner table wondering how they afford their life, do me one favor. Hit the subscribe button. New video on this channel every single day. Each one is a specific move that puts real money back in your pocket, same way this one just did. And here's what's coming tomorrow. One of the most boring sounding videos in this series, and one of the most lucrative. You met Lauren earlier in this series, the marketing manager in Seattle who sat on her bedroom floor surrounded by Amazon boxes she didn't remember ordering. She built a 5 things she stopped buying list that healed her bank account in 90 days. Tomorrow's video is Lauren's sister. Her sister did one thing. One Saturday morning, she canceled 8 specific subscriptions she had been quietly paying for, in many cases, years without using. Total annual cost of those 8 subscriptions, $4,200. Total time it took to cancel, under 2 hours. Annual savings, year after year, with 0 loss of quality of life, $4,200. I'm going to walk you through her exact list. Plus the script for the cancellation calls, because 4 of these will try to keep you, and there's a specific phrase that gets you out without the runaround. If you've been quietly paying for subscriptions you barely use, tomorrow is your free $4,000. I'm Trish. Talk to you then.